And good evening, everybody, and welcome to the ITG Next Game of the Week. I'm Phil Jones, your play-by-play man. Sean Perry, our videographer for tonight's game. Coming to you live tonight from Richmond Hill, Georgia, home of the Wildcats, as the Lowndes High Vikings and the Richmond Hill Wildcats get it on tonight in this Region 170 battle. Good evening, everybody, and welcome to the next to the last regular season live broadcast that we have brought you all season long, a 2023 package of great high school football games that has seen ITG Next take you to Buford, Langston Hughes, East Coweta. Where else have we been? All over the place, all over the state of Georgia, literally. And tonight we are here over on the East Coast, not far from Savannah. Back here at Richmond Hill. I say back here at Richmond Hill. We were here last year, and, of course, bringing you the Richmond Hill-Colquitt County game. But tonight, it's a different Region 170 matchup between the Vikings, 4-4, 0-2 in the region, as are the Richmond Hill Wildcats, who are also 4-4, 0-2 in region play. So let's just get down to brass tacks. The winner of this game, while each team still has one game left in the regular season, the winner of this game certainly takes a giant step towards securing the fourth and final playoff seed coming out of Region 170A. And I got to tell you guys, the winner, not only do you secure the number 4 seed, but you could be looking at a very interesting first-round playoff matchup, quite possibly going to Archer, which I think is a winnable game for either of these teams. But, again, the key is whoever can come out of this win or this game tonight with a win certainly is going to be in the driver's seat. Next week, you got Richmond Hill going to go to Colquitt County, and Lowndes going to wrap up the regular season next week as well. Going to be hosting Camden County. So while Lowndes appears to be, again, with the advantage after tonight, you got to think that the Camden game is winnable for Lowndes more so than the Colquitt game would be for Richmond Hill. Again, that's next week. Teams got to take care of business tonight to try to secure that fourth and final playoff spot. I know we're going to have a lot of you watching tonight, especially a lot of you from over in the Lowndes area that wasn't able to make the trip here tonight. So settle back and enjoy tonight's live stream. Now, if you haven't been a part of our live stream all season long, or even if you have, we encourage you guys to join us as far as chatting with us. Let us hear from you. Comment about what you want to see tonight, who you're pulling for, who your favorite team is. Even if it's not one of these two teams, we'd love to hear from you as we go forward. A little bit about these two teams. I mentioned the records, 4-4, 0-2. In that regard, fairly identical. Richmond Hill started off the season with a win over Effingham, and then they lost a tough one to Ware. They came back with wins against Jenkins. Creekside, now that's Creekside out of St. John's, Florida, not the Creekside out of Georgia. Then they defeated a solid New Hampstead team by a couple of points. Then they went on a bit of a skid, lost to Coffee 21-0. Lost a heartbreaker to Camden. Should have won that game. They were up by a couple of touchdowns, and I'm sure you Lowndes Vikings fans know that story, right? And then lost to Valdosta 24-14 in their last game. On the other side of the ledger, the Lowndes High Vikings, very similar. Started off with a win against Christ School. That was a part of the Georgia-Carolina Challenge. Then won against Gadsden County and followed that up with a win against Rock Creek Christian Academy out of Maryland. So the Vikings get off to a 3-0 start this year. They then lose to East Coweta. It was their first loss of the year. They're at home 42-30. They lost to Grayson, probably the worst game. And the one game of the whole year, if you ask Lowndes fans, the Grayson game, the one game that really they didn't play well, they never really were in the game. Grayson came out early, took it to them, and Lowndes really never had a chance to respond. Since then, of course, lost to Valdosta in the Wintersville Classic. That was a game, again, that a lot of people will point to and say Lowndes should have won. I mentioned that 2-touchdown lead earlier that Richmond Hill had in their game against Camden, well, the same thing can be said for the Lowndes High Vikings in their game against Valdosta. After the Wintersville Classic loss, Lowndes came back with a big win over Dunbar. And then, of course, in their last game, Lowndes played well. Now, you may look at the final score against Colquitt County and say, well, 52-34, Phil, that's an 18-point loss. But Lowndes played well in that game. And if you guys listen to my weekly show that I do with Adam Carter, it's the Lowndes High Coaches Show. You can hear it every week. In fact, Adam Carter and I talk every Monday morning at 7:30. We record the show, and then we replay it back. You guys can hear that at ITG Next. You can hear it wherever your favorite podcasts are found, Spreaker, Apple Podcast, wherever you find your favorite podcast. You can find the Lowndes High Coaches Show with Adam Carter. But he told me on Monday the biggest problem that he feels like his young and inexperienced Viking team has had this year is trying to finish games. So if they can do that, then maybe they give themselves a chance. So I mentioned to you guys, I'd love to hear from y'all. I want to hear where you're checking out the game from. Just like my buddy Waylon Polk saying, let's go Lee County Trojans. Lake Land, go Vikings, play hard. Joaquin and Jevian Thomas, I love you. If you're a parent, if you're maybe a relative of these players, again, shout them out, and I'll certainly let your voice be heard. Just like Victoria Reese Stevens says, go Vikings from Watkinsville, Georgia, up there around the Athens area. ITG Next Game of the Week brought to you tonight, as they have been brought to you all season long, by our friends at Georgia Farm Bureau Insurance, as well as Baker Sports. You're hearing the Richmond Hill Wildcat Marching Band cranking it up on the field there before we get started tonight. And they are big, kind of like the Georgia Bridgman, of course, the Lowndes Marching Band, in big numbers. So a lot of brass, a lot of bass, a lot of drums, a lot of sound going to be coming from both of these bands. By the way, at halftime tonight, we're going to let you guys enjoy the halftime entertainment from these bands. So I know a lot of you Lowndes fans, you're proud of your band. You should be. Same way with the Richmond Hill Band. And we'll let you enjoy the sights and sounds of the marching band. That'll be coming up at halftime. So don't go anywhere once we hit halftime tonight. Meredith Nolan says, let's go Vikings and go Lowndes High Georgia Bridgman. You'll be hearing them at halftime. John Carroll says, go Vikings from Hayhira. Georgia Farm Bureau Insurance, guys, one of our sponsors of tonight's game. To find an agent near you, visit their website at www.gfbinsurance.com. That's www.gfbinsurance.com for all of your insurance needs. That includes auto, home, life, renter's insurance, whatever insurance you're looking for. Your friends at Georgia Farm Bureau Insurance can help you. There's an agent near you. Go to that website, gfbinsurance.com. Type in your zip code, type in your town. You'll find an agent near you, or you can call them at 877-404-1050. Also want to thank our friends at Baker Sports, who want to welcome all football fanatics. Baker Sports and Pro Sports are proud to be the presenting sponsor between Richmond Hill and Lowndes High tonight. Athletes and fans alike. Between Baker and Pro Sports, you can get your gear covered, from cheerleading to football to fans. We are your one-stop shop for top quality sports apparel and equipment. Call us at 904-388-8126. That's 904-388-8126 for all your sporting good needs. Speaking of our friends at Baker Sports, around the end of the third quarter, into the fourth quarter, we're going to ask you guys to help me choose our Baker Sports player of the game. Now, we'll select a player of the game from each team, and the player of the game from both the Lowndes High Vikings and Richmond Hill are going to be receiving a free pair of shoulder pads, compliments of our friends from Baker Sports. We've had some great players of the game this year. Julian Juju Lewis was one of our players of the game when we were in Carrollton. Also, Eric Brantley, we brought you the McEachern Valdosta game from Cantrell Stadium up in Cobb County earlier this year. Eric Brantley had a standout game, albeit in a Valdosta loss. And so that's just a couple of the standout players of the game that we have selected this year and who have received that free pair of shoulder pads, compliments of our friends at Baker Sports. All right, we've got the captains for both teams out at the middle of the field for the coin toss. For Richmond Hill, you've got Nick Bliss, and we're going to be calling his name a lot tonight. He is a Mr. Do-It-All for this Richmond Hill team. Also out there, number 5, Caleb Easterling. Also out there, number 94 and number 21 for Richmond Hill. That's Gabe Ballman. He's their big defensive standout. And the other Wildcat captain, as we mentioned, big number 94. That is Andy Farrer. For the Lowndes High Vikings, man, they brought out a ton of captains. 1, 9, 4, 21, 42. So that is Jakari Fleming. That is Marvis Parrish. That is Coleman Lewis. As the Richmond Hill Wildcats and the Vikings making their way onto the field. I'll try to get you the rest of those Lowndes captains coming up here in just a minute. Matt Lozada, head coach of Richmond Hill. He has done a good job with one of the youngest teams in Region 1-7A. They battle each and every season. They play with a lot of heart. Had a chance to call their game against Colquitt County here last year. Of course, Lowndes High Vikings, no doubt that Adam Carter in his first year as head coach of the Vikings has somewhat of an inexperienced team. They are also young. They are also fighting their way. So a lot of similarities between these two teams. And like I said, the winner of tonight's game is certainly going to take a big step for what will be their next step into the postseason. First round of the state playoffs. And like I mentioned earlier, now both these teams do have one additional regular season game left. For Richmond Hill, going to be going to Colquitt County to take on the Pack. And for Lowndes, going to be hosting Camden County. But while those games are important, there's not really any more important game for these two teams than this one right here tonight. Both teams 0-2 in the region, fighting for the 4th and final seed in Region 1-7A to represent the region as the 4th seed heading into the playoffs. We got a lot of big games around the state tonight. We know that. We'll certainly try to pass along scores to you as we go along tonight. I'm Phil Jones, your play-by-play man. Thanks so much for being with us tonight here on the ITG Next Game of the Week. Want to hear from you guys tonight as you're watching the game. Let me know who you're pulling for. Let me know where you're watching the game from. Like Greg Maddox saying, "Go Vikings, go." All right, we are about ready to get this baby underway. It's a beautiful night here on the Georgia coast. It was hot and humid earlier, but as we have moved along just in the last hour, it has certainly started to cool down quite nicely. It's a great night for football. It's a great night to kick back, get you some popcorn, get you a nice soft drink, and get ready to relax and watch the ITG Next Game of the Week between the Lowndes High Vikings and the Richmond Hill Wildcats. We are set to go. Kick taken at the 21. Return, short return, taken to about the 25. And that's where Richmond Hill going to put it in play, 1st and 10, going from left to right. Aiden Andrews with the kickoff to start tonight's game. And we are underway here. Richmond Hill going to go on offense. Lowndes in their white tops the dark bottoms, Richmond Hill, the colorful yellow tops, silver breeches, and the black helmets. Going to be a quarterback draw, taking it right up the middle for about 7 yards. So a nice run, quarterback call, draw all the way by Kirk Scott. He's a junior quarterback. Of course, for the Vikings tonight, we're going to see Marvis Parrish. When the Vikings have the ball, Lowndes fans and bands and majorettes all making a lot of noise across the way, trying to disrupt Richmond Hill, who have it 2nd down and 3 after the 7-yard quarterback keeper. Going to be yet another quarterback keeper right up the middle. He'll have the 1st down with a late push from his Richmond Hill teammates. So in 2 plays, Richmond Hill's got a 1st down. Nick Bliss, I told you we're going to call his name a lot tonight. He's going to line up over here in the slot, 2-receiver set. Going to be a short set for Richmond Hill, who have a new set of down for the 3rd consecutive play. It's a quarterback keeper all the way around the left side. He's going to get about 3 yards, is Kirk Scott, junior quarterback for Richmond Hill. And going to bring up 2nd down. Just underway, Richmond Hill in front of a packed house. As far as the home side, Lowndes has brought a nice crowd across the way. But this home side is filled up nicely from end zone to end zone. It was that way last year. Well, they come out and support their Richmond Hill Wildcats just like the Lowndes Vikings do, certainly when they're playing at the Concrete Palace. 2nd down, we'll call it 6, needed for the 1st. Going to be another running play. Nick Bliss taking it for about 3 yards. Going to take it to about the 44-yard line is where they're going to spot it. Going to bring up a 3rd down. It'll be the first 3rd down of the night. Kitty O'Neill says Kitty and Jerry O'Neill are watching tonight's game. Welcome in, guys. Thanks so much for watching. ITG next, game of the week, has got the Vikings defense trying to stop Richmond Hill on a 3rd down and 5 needed for the 1st. Another run play right up the middle. It's a 1st down for Richmond Hill. They needed about 5 and they got 7, giving it that time to number 5, Caleb Easterly. So move the chains. It's a new set of downs for Richmond Hill, who have come out all run plays so far tonight for the Wildcats. Going to see Bliss now. Again, he's their go-to guy. Watch him out on the end there, but they're not running him. Instead, they're going to run right up the middle. Nice run that time. Joshua Troop gets the run that time. Tackle made that time. Well, you'll hear his name called a lot on defense. Coleman Lewis. He's a linebacker. He's the Vikings' leading tackler, and he was the man in on the stop for the Vikings on that play. Get the change right, guys. It's not 1st. It's 2nd down. Now they'll move it. 2nd down and 5 after a gain of 5. Another run play. Still pushing the pile forward. Looks like it's going to be another 1st down for Kirk Scott. So nothing fancy from Richmond Hill so far, guys. They're just pretty much running it right at the Vikings defense tonight, and they've got a new set of downs. Remember, this drive started back on about their own 24-yard line, and here they are in Lowndes territory at the Vikings 40. Another run play right up the middle. Another big gain for Richmond Hill, taking it across the 35 to the 33. Joshua Troop, the junior running back for Richmond Hill, again on the carry. Michael Strain says, "Go Vikings." James Lindsay checking out tonight's game. Had a bad snap that time. That's a break for the Lowndes defense. Going to bring up third down now. Third and short, though. Third, and we'll call it a long 3. Can the Vikings hold here? You got to figure, though, where Richmond Hill is, guys, this is probably 4-down territory, so they're going to probably have a couple of cracks at it if they don't make it. But they do, I believe, on that one. Needed 3, got about 4. It's another Richmond Hill first down. ITG next game of the week coming to you live tonight here from Richmond Hill in front of a packed home crowd. Lowndes has brought a nice crowd. Had to make the long 3-hour trip from Lowndes County. So a new set of downs. Troop on the carry. Oh, he lost his footing. Thankfully for the Vikings, he was coming to the outside, had some room there. He tried to cut it back inside, and when he did, he slipped. The old turf monster jumped up and got him. Still a nice gain from True. We'll give him 4 yards. Second down and 6. We're just underway. Richmond Hill with a nice opening drive. Vikings trying to stop this drive, though, and hold Richmond Hill. Handoff. Taken inside the 25 to the 23-yard line. That's Troop on the carry. Going to bring up a third down and about a yard needed for the first. Did we have a penalty? We did. A penalty on the Vikings. That's a big one. A penalty on the Lowndes High Vikings is going to move the ball to the 12-yard line. I never saw what the call is, guys, so I apologize. See if we can get the call from the white hat here. I think we had an unsportsmanlike conduct. I could almost hear the white hat from here, even without his microphone. That's how close we are here. This stadium is tight. You're right on top of the players. Just a great place to watch a game, and we're making it great for you guys to watch tonight's game. Hope you're enjoying our ITG next game of the week. It's going to be first and goal to go. They moved it half the distance, so first and goal from the 7. Handoff, breaking it outside. He's going to score easy. It's a Richmond Hill touchdown. Richmond Hill touchdown comes at 6:15 of the first quarter. Comes on a 7-yard run from Caleb Easterling. And it comes after a long, time-consuming, and yard-eating drive by Richmond Hill that started back on their own 24. So a 76-yard drive. Here's the extra point coming up. Kick is up. And the kick is good. Now, guys, I'll tell you this. Last year, Richmond Hill came out, did the same exact thing. They moved the ball right down the field on the Colquitt County Packers. And you're thinking, oh, boy, it's going to be a long night for the Packers. But the Colquitt County Packers came back with 35 unanswered points to win it. Now, can Lowndes do the same thing? We're about to find out as we'll see the Vikings go on offense for the first time tonight. Aquarius J. Wilson says they need to tackle better. Well, they'll get the handle on it. Mike Sorensen checking out the game. What's up, Mike? Nathan Lincoln wants to know why can't Lowndes put more men in the box and make them throw the ball. You can bet that Adam Carter, the defensive specialist that he is, winner of a state championship 3 years ago. He'll get things right, guys, so be patient. A lot of football left to be played. 7-0. Richmond Hill goes on top. All right, so we're going to see the Vikings now. Finally, they'll get a chance to strut their stuff on offense. And here we go. High kick. Going to be into the end zone. Smoke tried to go up there and keep it from going to the end zone. He jumped up, but couldn't keep it out of the end zone. And so it's going to be a touchback. So we're going to see now the Vikings go on offense for the first time tonight. If you guys have got any scores, we just got one. Colquitt up 3-0. That's on Valdosta to let us know any scores that you can pass along to us and for our friends watching. All right, here we go. Marvis Parrish on the throw. It's complete to the 24-yard line. Short gain. Going to be 2nd down and 6. Marvis, the quarterback, with Aleem Brown at running back. A run play here for the Vikings, taking it up to the 28. In fact, that was indeed Marvis Parrish on the keeper. 3rd down and 3. Lowndes in a 3rd down situation. Let's see if they'll keep it on the ground here. Smoke Fleming is the back. He's off the right hip of Marvis Parrish, who takes the snap. Going to give it to Smoke Fleming off the right side. He's fighting for yardage. Let's see where he got. He's going to be brought down after a short gain of a yard, maybe a couple of yards. 4th down and about a yard needed. What will Adam Carter do? Will he roll the dice here and go for it on 4th and 1 or trust his defense if they don't make it? It's quite a gamble. Right now, they are showing no signs of sending the punt team. Lowndes is going to go for it. 4th and a yard. What a gutsy call. There's the snap. Going to give it to Smoke Fleming. He'll get outside. 1st down and more. What a gutsy call by Adam Carter and the Vikings. On 4th down and 1 from deep in their own territory. He goes for it, and he gets the 1st down. Heck of a call there. You got to admire Adam Carter with the riverboat gambler style of thinking there. Man, what a call. And Smoke Fleming just took it for a big gain. About 14-yard gain out to the 43. Going to give it to Jakari again off the right side, fighting for yardage. Taking it up to about the 44. Alexander Smith Jr. is watching tonight from Statesboro, Georgia. Love to hear from you guys tonight. Chat with me all throughout the game. We'll talk to you. We'll chat right back with you. 4 receivers set. 1 back. That's Smoke Fleming off the left hip of Marvis Parrish, who takes it. Quarterback draw right up the middle. Marvis going to take it for a couple of tough yards. Big hit that time by Richmond Hill's linebacker Brian Rowland, the senior. So here's another 3rd down situation. 3rd down and 6 needed for the Vikings. 3:20, 3:19, 3:18 to go in the first quarter. Richmond Hill leads at 7-0. Lowndes, though, trying to answer here with a drive of their own. 3rd down and 6. Marvis Parrish wants to throw. Looks, going to step up in the pocket. Now he's going to run for it. Marvis going to get the 1st down and more. So Parrish dropped back to pass. Tucked it down and took off with it. And he's going to pick up a nice gain. It's a 1st down and more. Marvis Parrish on the keeper. Taking it across the 50 down to the Richmond Hill 42-yard line, and that's a new set of downs for the Vikings. So here come the Vikings right back on offense. A good-looking drive. Parrish back to throw. Looks. Going to throw it long down that right side. Intercepted. Intercepted. Coming down with the interception, Brandon McDonald, the junior defensive back. Linda Allen says, let's go Vikings. Number 15, Braden Swain. Nana is watching from Sylvester. That's the beauty of what we do, bringing these games when you can't make it. Allowing you the chance to watch your grandbaby, your son, your nephew, no matter where you are. And no matter where you are in the world, you can watch our ITG Next Game of the Week. So it's a turnover for the Vikings on an interception. And so Richmond Hill taking over, and they'll get a nice gain. They're on first down, taking it for about 4 yards. Spotted at the 14. The interception came at the 10-yard line. Here's Richmond Hill. They lead it 7-0. Snap. Another run play. Still on his feet. Taking it to the 21-yard line is the running back for Richmond Hill, number 2, Joshua Troop. We got a penalty on that play. It's going to negate the run, and this penalty is going to go against Richmond Hill, I think. Kind of weird there. The penalties I thought was on Richmond Hill, but they were talking to Richmond Hill, so let's let them sort this thing out. Here comes the white hat to give us the call. Shot block on Richmond Hill. That's a big one. It's going to be a spot foul, and that's going to put now Richmond Hill way back inside where they started from, inside their own 10-yard line. That's where they started after the interception. So now after the penalty, they've got it way back at their own 7-yard line. 2nd and a mile. Let's see if the Vikings, if you're a Viking fan, see if they can come up with a big defensive play here. Let's see what we get. Richmond Hill trying to change the play. Play clock is running out. Are they going to be able to get it off? They do. Quick toss, wide receiver screen. It's complete. Short gain, however, to about the 10. Give him about 2.5, 3-yard line. Or give him about 2.5, 3 yards, I should say, up to about the 10-yard line. That's where they're going to spot it now, back at the 8. So a short gain. So now this is going to bring up a big down for both teams. 3rd and 12 for Richmond Hill. Inside their own 10-yard line. Let's see if the Vikings can get a stop here. If you're a Lounge fan, if you're a Richmond Hill fan, you want to keep the drive going. Let's see what happens. Richmond Hill leads at 7-0. 1:10 to go in the first quarter. Scott wants to throw. Got plenty of time. Plenty of time. Plenty of time. Going to throw it. Complete, I think. It is complete. What a play. He found his big tight end that time. Number 88, Derek Lum. And on 3rd and long, Richmond Hill will convert, and they'll move it out of the shadow of their own goal line. It's a first down, Wildcats. Under a minute to go in the first quarter. Richmond Hill leads at 7-0. They just got a huge 3rd down conversion. Up to their own 26-yard line. 4 receivers set out there on that far side, 1 here to the near side. 5 receiver, empty backfield. Quarterback draw all the way. Scott going to take it up to about the 35. Kirk Scott's helmet came off on that play. He's going to have to come out for at least one play. You got to think that they'll probably let Nick Bliss, move the quarterback for this one play. Second down, it was a gain of about 4 yards. 41 seconds, 40 seconds. Clock continues to move here in the first quarter with Richmond Hill leading at 7-0. A lot of football left to be played. Thanks so much for being with us tonight here on the ITG Next Game of the Week. Big run play here, left side. Caleb Easterling. They had Caleb Easterling and Nick Bliss side by side. Both with their hands out as they were both looking for the snap. It went to Easterling. He had a keeper around the left side for a big gain and another Richmond Hill first down. Richmond Hill have looked great offensively. Actually, Lowndes looked pretty good in their first offensive possession, but they turned it over on an interception. So here we go, Richmond Hill with their new set of downs, 1st and 10, just shy of the 50 at their own 47. Another quarterback. We're seeing a lot of these just quarterback keepers. Boy, there's a nice tackle that time coming up by the Lowndes defense. Coming up and making the tackle that time. Marlon Evans, defensive back, the senior, comes up and makes a great play. Nathan Lincoln says Lowndes got to get off the field on 3rd down. That is kind of the important thing right now, isn't it? We have come to the end of the first quarter. It was a quick first quarter with both teams running the ball for the majority of their time. So at the end of one quarter, it's Richmond Hill 7, Lowndes nothing. ITG Next Game of the Week brought to you by our friends at Georgia Farm Bureau Insurance, who want to remind you, you can find an agent near you by going to their website, www.gfbinsurance.com. There you'll find an agent that can help you with your auto, home, life, and any other insurance need that you may have. Also, a big thanks goes out to our friends at Baker Sports. Baker Sports and Pro Sports are proud to partner with us here at ITG Next and sponsor tonight's football game. From athletes to fans, Baker's has got your apparel and sporting equipment needs covered. Thank you all for enjoying Friday Night Lights with ITG Next and the ITG Next Game of the Week, brought to you by our friends at Baker Sports. So a quick first quarter that saw both teams move the ball. Lowndes with only one offensive possession, however. Richmond Hill, their second offensive possession to end the first quarter, has them moving the football with a 7-0 lead. Ten to 7, Colquitt County, says Jim Blair. Packers leading Valdosta. Chris Will says defense has got to get off the blocks. Travis Hart. Travis, I'm not going to repeat that. Got to stay positive, guys. Got to stay positive. You remember, 17, 18-year-old, 16-year-old young men out there giving it their all. All right, here we go. Ready to start the second quarter of play. Richmond Hill has got it. 2nd down and about 6 needed for the first. Another run play. And, boy, this time the Lowndes defense is going to come up big. How about that? Is that what you guys were waiting for? Leading the way for the Vikings defense. Big number 54, Caleb Barron. 6 foot, 250. He's a junior. He'll be back next year. Third down. He lost a couple of yards on that play. Here's a big play, guys. Both teams. The Vikings desperately need a stop. The ball sits right at the 50. 3rd down and 8. Scott, the quarterback, takes it. Going to roll here to the left. Looks, going to throw it down here to the sideline. Complete. Or was it? No, it's going to be called incomplete. Couldn't hang on to it. So we're going to see the first punt of the night. So the Vikings defense is going to come up big, and they're going to make the stop that they desperately needed. So there you go, Nathan Lincoln. You said the Lowndes defense has got to get off the field on third down. They heard you, and they came through. So the Vikings will force Richmond Hill to punt it away. Scott is the one going to punt this one away. He'll kick it from about his own 40. You got Jakari Smoke Fleming back there to return it. Jakari says get away from it. And going to let it roll, and it will roll inside the 20-yard line, and the Wildcat defensive, or the special team players, I should say, going to get down there and down this one. So we're going to see the Vikings go on offense for just the second time tonight to start quarter number 2. 10:57 left to go in the first half. Richmond Hill leads at 7-0. You're watching the ITG Next Game of the Week. Next week, we go to Rome. We have been all over this state this year, bringing you great high school football, and it continues next week. But tonight, Richmond Hill Lowndes is our featured game, and it's a good one so far. Marvis is going to keep it. Right up the middle goes Parrish. Got some pushing and shoving. We've got a Viking down. Now he'll get up. That's good to see. Gain of about a yard on that play by Parrish. So second down and 9 needed for the first. There's a penalty flag on the play. Let's see what the call is. Dead ball, personal foul. It's going to go against Lowndes. And the Viking faithful across the way, you can hear them all the way over here. They did not like that call. So it's a personal foul going to go against Lowndes. And that's going to back them up 15 yards, not what they needed. I can promise you that. So you'll replay first down, but are you going to replay second down? I'm sorry. You're going to replay second down with the Vikings now inside their own 10 at the 9-yard line. Parrish is the quarterback. He's got Fleming off his left hip. Parrish, quick drop, throws, almost intercepted. It is intercepted. It was batted up in the air, and it's an interception by Richmond Hill. Number 34, Aiden Grant, tipped it up to himself. And it's a 9-yard interception return. And that makes it 13-0. Richmond Hill, a tough break for the Vikings. Here's the point after attempt now from Blake Williams, the junior place kicker, who puts it up. And it's good. So a tough break for Marvis Parrish. He had a receiver open. It was just a little button hook pattern. Marvis tried to get it out there. It was batted up in the air, intercepted. And just like that, Richmond Hill is going to go on top, 14-0. So 14-0. Richmond Hill has come out playing with a good style of football. But there's a lot of football left to be played in this one. Still practically the entire first half remaining. 10:33 left here in the first half. Richmond Hill leads at 14-0. Big thanks to Georgia Farm Bureau Insurance and Baker Sports sponsoring tonight's game. They've been sponsors of our entire 2023 Game of the Week package, and we thank our sponsors for sponsoring tonight's game and all of our games this year that you've been able to enjoy here at ITG Next. And we have had the fortune of bringing you some great football, some great players. You've had a chance to see the greatest quarterbacks in this state, from Dylan Riola at Buford, Juju Lewis at Carrollton, Prentice Aaron Nolan at Langston Hughes. Good players, good teams. They've been a part of the ITG Next Game of the Week all season long. And tonight it's Richmond Hill Lowndes, big Region 178 battle. And again, the winner will certainly take a big step towards securing that fourth and final playoff spot. Going to be taking on Region 4 7A. And I'll tell you a little bit more about that. Very interesting possibilities that these teams are looking at for the playoffs. Big return by Jakari Fleming on the kick return. Going to take it all the way out to the 26-yard line. That's where the Vikings are going to put it in play. They trail at 14-0. Now, again, Lowndes has shown that they can move the football. Most of that has come on the ground. Well, let's see what they decide to do here as they come out trailing at 14-0. A lot of football left to be played. Vikings just got to settle down and try to get a score and get back in this thing. 14-0. Richmond Hill leads it. Marvis is going to take it and have it to Smoke Fleming. Trying to get outside. He will for a couple, maybe two, maybe three, depending on where they spot it. Burke County was another good one. Burke County, Wayne County, we brought you earlier this year. Matthew Odom, one of the best running backs in the state. Just great players after great players week after week. 9:54 to go in the first half. Second down, 8 needed for the first. Parrish going to crank it up and throw it down that far sideline. Incomplete. He was trying to find, it looked like, Aiden, let's see, who was it? Aiden Sifa, the wide receiver. Big 6'4". He's a big boy. He'll be back next year. Pass, though, was thrown out of his reach. So here's another big third down. Lowndes has had a couple of these already. Third down and 8. Two receivers set here the near side. Man in the slot, man on the far side, also split out wide. Here's Marvis, going to tuck it down and try to run for it. He's going to be knocked out of bounds. A penalty flag is going to be thrown. Richmond Hill is going to be called for a late hit. That's going to be a break for the Vikings. It's going to be a late hit, personal foul called on Richmond Hill, and that will give the Vikings a new set of downs. There's a break for Lowndes. I'm guessing that's what the call is. I don't know what else it could be. But we'll see. It looked like a late hit by Richmond Hill. There's a lot of conversation going on, though. Let's see what we get. It's a fun. Well, now, wait a minute. Hold on. Yeah, offsetting penalties. Okay, so. Okay, so we had a false start on Lowndes. We had a personal foul. So it's going to go as a dead ball, which means it will not offset. So that is indeed a break for the Vikings. Strange set of calls there, but it'll all turn out right for the Vikings. If you're a Viking fan, you like that. That's going to keep the drive alive. 1st and 10 for Lowndes. Parrish. It's like a broken play here. Parrish still on his feet, going to put his head down and try to run forward. He'll get it to the 40. Like a busted play there. Another penalty. Holding on the Vikings. Matt Lozada with the white hat standing right in front of the Richmond Hill coach. You can tell him, or you can tell what he's saying there. He's telling the white hat to move him back. So a holding call on Lowndes. So we'll replay first down, but instead of 1st and 10, it'll be 1st and 20 for the Vikings, who trail it 14-0. A long Richmond Hill drive of 76 yards to start the game, and then a 9-yard interception return for a touchdown on that last Lowndes possession, and that's where we are, 14-0. First and 20, 9:27 to go in the first half. Marvis going to throw it long down here. Got a man open. It's complete. It happened right in front of the Richmond Hill bench. They were all saying incomplete, but no, sir, it's a complete pass. It's a big play for the Vikings. That's a huge play for Lowndes. And that's going to get them on the Richmond Hill side of the 50. First down run here for no gain. Got to make it second down. May have actually lost a few inches there. Now they'll just say, I think, no gain. Shane Gang having a tough time tonight. I thought he lost a couple of inches, and he did. Referee comes over and resets the yard marker. We'll still call it second and 10.5 needed for the Vikings. After a big pass, let's see if they can do something with it. Marvis going to throw. Intercepted! It's another interception. Right now, the wheels are coming off for the Vikings passing game. Marvis just threw it right to the defensive back for Richmond Hill. I don't know if he didn't see him or what. He stepped right in front of the pass. It's an interception. And Richmond Hill with their second interception of the night. Marvis actually came over and had to make the touchdown saving tackle, pushing him out of bounds, or else that was going to be taken back to the house for another pick six. So the Lowndes defense, they've been asked to do a lot so far, and they're going to be on the field again. Man, they spent a lot of time out there in this first half, have the Vikings defense, and they're out there again. Richmond Hill with it at the Lowndes 36-yard line after the interception. Scott wants to tag it long. There it goes. Almost intercepted. We've got a penalty flag on the play, so we're getting a little sloppy here. Trying to sort this one out and see what we got. Pass interference, offensive pass interference called on Richmond Hill. So that's going to cost them 15 yards. That's going to be a critical penalty for Richmond Hill. So the Vikings now trying to bow their backs here. They're trying to keep their team in this game. A couple of interceptions have really thwarted any Lowndes scoring opportunities. But now Richmond Hill in a deep hole. First and about 25 needed. Now they're back on their side of the 50. At their own 48. Run play. Scott going to take it right side. He'll take it for about 4 or 5. Lowndes comes up with the football, but I think the referees are going to blow it dead. You're watching the ITG Next Game of the Week, coming to you live tonight from Richmond Hill, Georgia, home of the Richmond Hill Wildcats. The Lowndes High Vikings trail Richmond Hill 14-0, 7:43, 7:42, and counting to go in the first half. Second and about 18 needed for the first. Kirk Scott takes it, looks, throws, little screen pass, far side, and the Lowndes defense comes up big. And they're going to knock him down for a loss of about 3. We've got a Lowndes player that's down on the far side. One of his teammates trying to help him up. Now he'll finally get up. He's okay. He'll stay on the field. How about that? That was number 22 for the Vikings. It was Travis Brown who was down over there, but he's up. So 3rd and long. This is a great opportunity for Lowndes to get off the field. 3rd and a mile. Kirk Scott going to roll here to the near side. Heavy rush. He's going to get rid of it, throwing it long downfield. Batted down, incomplete. So the Viking defense comes up huge after an interception that Marvis Parrish saved from being a pick six. Might have saved the Vikings there, at least for now. That's a big play. That could have been a huge turn of momentum, and it is, as the Vikings now will get the ball back. Smoke is going to call for and make the fair catch. And so by doing that, he's going to allow his Lowndes offensive teammates to come out and take over. 1st and 10 at their own 15-yard line. You guys may have heard about the Cook High situation. The GHSA had ruled earlier that there was an ineligible player they had used, but earlier this morning, and by the way, after that ruling, Cook was forced to forfeit all of their wins this year. Here's a big run by Fleming, left side, still on his feet. And that's a big play for the Vikings. 1st down and more. Ja'Cory Fleming with a big 1st down run, and that will move the chains once again. And let's see if the Vikings decide to go with some tempo here, and that's exactly what they're going to do. No huddle. Vikings want to try to take advantage here, keep the momentum going. Parrish is going to take it, going to hand off. Nothing doing this time, nothing doing for Fleming. He's going to lose a couple. 2nd down. So in case you missed it, Cook was ruled to have an ineligible player, and they had to forfeit all of their wins this year. Disappointing situation until this morning when an Alapaha judicial court judge overruled the GHSA's ruling and reinstated all of the Cook High wins as well as the player in question. And now you've got Cook and Fitzgerald playing for a region championship tonight, as was originally intended. Now, it's a temporary injunction. Penalty on Richmond Hill, by the way, is going to give Lowndes the ball up close to the 50, face mask. We'll tell you more about that crazy situation as Cook has gone on top in that one. Here's a jet sweep. Running room here on the corner. There he goes. Taking it inside the 40 to about the 37-yard line. You could see that one developing there. It's either, well, we got a holding call, unfortunately. It's going to go on Lowndes. So, Braden Swain on the jet sweep that time. I think. I've got 2 number 15s, Braden Swain or Keelan Hicks. Maybe you guys can help me out as to which one it was. So anyway, on the Cook High situation, a temporary 30-day injunction has been granted. Now, they'll have a court hearing later on that, and it could revert back to where it was. So, but for right now, it gives the Hornets something to play for. Right now, though, Lowndes is playing for maybe a playoff spot. Parrish with some running room, tucks it in, runs it, takes it across the 45 to about the 46-yard line. Marvis on a great call, getting some of that yardage back. Going to bring up 2nd down and about 13 still needed for the first. 5:21, 5:20, 5:19 to go in the first half. It has been a quick first half with all the running plays that have kept the clock running. 14-0. Richmond Hill leads it, but Lowndes on a nice drive. They would love to take this one down and score. Let's see if they can do it. Marvis Parrish is in the gun. Going to take it. High snap. Going to pull it down and run it. Left side. He'll take it for maybe 2 yards. Big play here. 3rd down and about 12 needed for the first. So it was Second and 14. It's now third and 12. Big play here. Richmond Hill fans on their feet, making some noise. Parrish, he's got Jakari Fleming off his right hip. Snap to Parrish. He falls down. Tough break for Lowndes. Marvis was trying to set up to throw it, and he slid down. I don't know if the turf is wet. There's been no rain here to speak of, but it's quite humid. Okay, thank you, Linda Allen, for telling me that number 15 is Hicks. Makes it tough when you have two 15s, and they're both wide receivers, and you just don't know. So it's a punting situation for the Vikings now. One of the best in the business. Oh, my goodness. That's why. Great day. Folks, that's why Carson Page is maybe the best punter in the state. He is an all-state selection, and he just punted that ball over 60 yards, close to 70 yards. The return man was set up to return it, and he just looked up. Nothing he could do except watch it sail over his head. Maybe the best punter in the state. He is a weapon. Glenn Jackson tells us it's 17-7, Colquitt on Valdosta. Richmond Hill now, they're back with the football. They've got a 14-0 lead. Going to need the Viking defense to stand up tall once again. A lot of football left to be played. Lowndes defense needs to play tough, keep their team in this game right where it's at. 3:25, 3:24, 3:23, and counting to go in the first half. This has been a fast-moving first half with all the rushing plays. Actually lost a yard on that last play, so 2nd and 11. Kirk Scott going to take it, going to pull it down, going to run it. And the Lowndes defense, great pursuit that time. What a great tackle. And I think that was Coleman Lewis who made that one, and he was. Number 9, Coleman Lewis, the linebacker. He's the leading tackler for this Lowndes team, and you saw why there. It's a great play. Third down. 3rd and about 7 needed for the first. Big play here for both teams. Bliss is on the end here as the wideout. 2 receivers to the far side. You've got Scott and Easterling in the backfield. Bliss over there on the wing. Scott takes, throws, complete. Too easy. Just a very basic call there. Bliss ran to the sticks where he needed the first down. Stop, turn. The ball was there. He runs out of bounds. It's a first down. Too much cushion there. Got to come up and stop that one. I guess, though, Lowndes playing a little bit of a prevent here, trying to keep the ball in front of them. That's not a bad strategy because there's a lot of football left to be played. But it's a first down. 2:21 to go in the first half. Richmond Hill with the ball just outside their own 35. Kirk Scott, the quarterback, going to keep it. Right side, big gain. Lowndes defender is going to finally bring him down there at about the 46-yard line. It's another first down run for Richmond Hill. So move the 6. 1st and 10, Richmond Hill. 2 minutes. 2 minutes to go in the first half. Richmond Hill leads at 14-0. Richmond Hill at their own 45-yard line, 46-yard line. Option play, right side. Kirk Scott going to take it, keep it. He'll take it back up the middle. It's another big gain, taking it for 10 yards, I think. Depending on the spot, he may have enough for a first down, or he may be a little short. Yeah, they're going to spot him about a half yard short. So this could be, well, let's see, 2nd down and a half yard. 2nd down and a half yard. See if they try to take a shot long here. Going to throw it. Complete. A penalty flag. Check the call. Let's see what we get. Illegal man downfield. That's a break for the Vikings. So one of the big guys got downfield too far. So ineligible receiver downfield for the call on Richmond Hill. So that's a break. That was a huge pass play from Kirk Scott to Bliss. So mark it off. It's going to move the ball back to midfield. 1:22 left to go in this first half. So we'll spot it right at midfield at the 50. Second down. Kirk Scott, the quarterback for Richmond Hill, is going to take it. Look, throw, far sideline. Got a man wide open. That's Bliss, who makes a man miss. There goes Bliss down that far sideline. That's the second consecutive pass to him, and it's the second consecutive big gain for Nick Bliss and Richmond Hill. So move the chains. Ball going to go from the 50 all the way down to the 20. And now they'll re-spot it at the 26. Still a 24-yard gain from Richmond Hill. And right now, Richmond Hill on the move with 1:09 left to go in the first half. They lead it 14-0. And right now they've got the ball, they got the momentum, they got the lead, they got everything. Kirk Scott going to take it. Got to be brought down around the 22-yard line. So gain of about 4. We're inside a minute to go in the first half. Inside a minute, 50 seconds and counting. 50 seconds, 47, 46, 45 to go in the first half with Richmond Hill leading it 14-0. ITG next game of the week coming to you live tonight from Richmond Hill. Richmond Hill and the Lowndes Eye Vikings fighting for the 4th and final playoff spot in Region 1-7A. I think Matt Lozada called a timeout before the snap. And that's what we've got. And I think that's the first called timeout for either team in this first half. I was going to give you a chance to tell you about our folks that have sponsored tonight's game and our entire 2023 ITG Next Game of the Week package this year. And that's our friends at Georgia Farm Bureau Insurance and Baker Sports. First, about Georgia Farm Bureau Insurance. If you'd like to find an agent near you, get a quote from that agent, go to their website, gfbinsurance.com. You'll see it on your screen there, www.gfbinsurance.com, for a quote on any and all insurance needs, as well as finding an agent near you. Also, a big shout-out goes to our friends at Baker Sports, who later tonight we are going to be awarding the Baker Sports Player of the Game, and I'm going to do that with your help. So around the end of the third quarter, maybe end of the fourth quarter, I'll let you guys know when to start giving me your Players of the Game. Now, we give a Players of the Game for both teams, and both of those players are going to receive a free pair of shoulder pads, compliments of our friends at Baker Sports and Pro Sports. All right, coming out of the timeout now. Here we go. We're ready to go. Snap to Scott. Plenty of time. Throws complete. Going to take it inside the 15 to about the 13-yard line. 23 seconds. Another timeout. 23 seconds left. Move the chains. That's a first down. So another timeout taken. So, again, I'll go back and remind you guys that we're going to ask your help in giving us your selection for the Players of the Game. I mentioned earlier, man, we have given away some great Players of the Game awards so far this year. Julian Juju Lewis got our Player of the Game back earlier this year when we were in Carrollton. Also, Eric Brantley for Valdosta, our Player of the Game. And we've had some good ones. Who will it be tonight? Player of the Game for Lowndes, Player of the Game for Richmond Hill. Both those players going to be receiving a free pair of shoulder pads, compliments of our friends at Baker Sports and Pro Sports. And again, I'll ask you guys to help me come up with that. player of the game for both teams a little bit later. Don't forget, coming up at halftime, we're going to let you enjoy the halftime entertainment, the Georgia Bridgemen, and the Marching Wildcat Band from Richmond Hill. Your halftime entertainment coming up here in just a few minutes. We've got whistles now. What do we got? Lowndes calls a timeout. So Adam Carter came off the sidelines signaling, I want a timeout. He wanted to see what Richmond Hill was lined up in. So here's the situation. We've got 23 seconds left to go. Richmond Hill has got it 1st and 10 at the Lowndes 13-yard line. Richmond Hill, I'm showing, with one timeout left. So that must have been Lowndes' first timeout of the first half. So Richmond Hill with one timeout left. So watch that now. That could come into play big. With one timeout left, if they're not able to score or not able to stop the clock, that could be big. So we'll keep an eye on that. Great weather, and, man, what a great crowd. It was like that last year when we were here for the Richmond Hill-Colquitt game, and it's another big crowd here tonight for this one. 14-0. Richmond Hill leads it. The Viking defense needs to hold them right where they are. Can they? 23 seconds left. 1st and 10, Richmond Hill at the 13 of the Vikings. Kirk Scott looks, going to throw it long to the end zone. It's a touchdown, Richmond Hill. So the touchdown pass from 13 yards out has given Richmond Hill a 20-0 lead. Extra point attempt now coming up. A penalty flag has been thrown. I think we're going to get Lowndes lined up offside, so you'll move that half the distance. Now, will that cause Matt Lozada to go for 2? Yes, it will. He's going to ask his offense to get out there, and they're going to line up and go for 2 with the ball moved half the distance to the goal. So Richmond Hill going to try to pour on an extra point. Now Lowndes making wholesale defensive changes on the other side. You got players running off the field and onto the field from both sides. So with the penalty, moves it half the distance to the goal. So Richmond Hill going to go for 2. Ball spotted basically at the 1, just outside the 1-yard line. Richmond Hill says, let's go for it. So Richmond Hill going to go for 2. It's going to be a direct snap to Nick Bliss, and he's a playmaker. He's going to take it, going to go up the middle, and let's see what happens. I don't think he made it. No, he did make it. They're going to give him the plane of the goal line. They said he broke the plane, and it's a 2-point conversion successfully made. We've got an official is down. We've got an official that's been injured in the back of the end zone. The Lowndes doctor is out there to check on him, and I'm not sure what happened. So we have an official that is down in the back of the end zone. I don't know if he got hurt. I don't know if he has fallen ill. But we have an official that is on his back, and medical personnel has come out to check on him. While they tend to him, we're now 22-0. They've yet to put up the 2 points. I did see the signal that he had made it, but they've yet to put up. They've yet to put up the 2 points. I saw the side judge come run, or the line judge come running in and signaling with his arms up that he had made it. The official that fell ill or was hurt, can't tell which the 2 things happened, You had the Lowndes team physician, and I forget his name. He was out there immediately to check on him. Great reaction. And now he's up. And, man, you love to see that. I think they're going to lead him over to where the ambulance is and maybe get him some further attention. So, glad to see that situation is okay. So now they've put the 2 points on the board. So I thought that was the case, that he had made it. So 22-0 is your score. Don't forget, guys, we're going to let you enjoy the halftime entertainment tonight. Coming up here at the half, I assume that we're going to see the Georgia Bridgman. Now, they still are in the stands across the way. Usually they would have made their way out of the stands getting ready for the halftime performance. The Richmond Hill marching band is down here on the sideline, so either one or both marching bands will be your halftime entertainment. All right, here's the kickoff now. Going to be a little squib kick. Going to be picked up. Oh, my goodness. The return man for Lowndes took a tremendous hit from Joshua Troop. All right, so we've just received word from Nathan Lincoln, said the Bridgmen are not performing tonight. Well, you hate to see that. Mike Sorensen also confirming that. So there we go. Greg Tanner said, boom. Boy, indeed it was, wasn't it, Greg? Great day. All right, so a run play here to end the first half, as that will do it. The clock has come to an end. It shows all zeros. Richmond Hill fans are on their feet. We've come to the end of the first half of play with Richmond Hill Wildcats leading it 22-0 over the Lowndes High Vikings. ITG next game of the week. Brought to you by our friends at Baker Sports as well as Georgia Farm Bureau Insurance. So we will let you guys watch the Richmond Hill. So Nathan Lincoln says it's senior night for Richmond Hill. Yeah, actually, they have to. And Gay Davis has put it right tonight. Please stop with the negative comments. They do nothing to help anyone, especially the young men on the field. And Gay Davis, big thumbs up. And I'll hit the like button for you on that one. No need for that, guys. Come on. Got to support these young men. We've still got a half of football left to be played, guys. Come on. 22-0 the score. Richmond Hill leads it here at the half. I was talking earlier, Greg Tanner was telling me actually that they've become so big here at Richmond Hill, they kind of have to split things up over several nights. So it was one of several celebrations for this Richmond Hill senior class tonight. So we're going to let you enjoy, though, the halftime entertainment of the marching band from Richmond Hill as they get lined up. First half recap brought to you by Baker Sports. Richmond Hill took the opening kick and they drove it 76 yards. They went in on a 7-yard touchdown run by Caleb Easterling. It comes at 6:15 of the first quarter. The extra point was good, and Richmond Hill lead at 7-0. Their second score of the night would come on a 9-yard interception return for a touchdown. That made it 14-0. And then in the second quarter, a 13-yard touchdown pass, which came right at the end of the second quarter. Lowndes offsides on the extra point attempt. So Richmond Hill head coach Matt Lozada motioned for his offense to get back on the field. He brought his special team extra point unit off the field. Richmond Hill with only a yard to go for the extra point. They made it. And that's where we stand at the end of the first half, with Richmond Hill leading it 22-0. I'm Phil Jones, your host, your play-by-play man for tonight's game. And again, we've got Sean Perry on the video tonight all season long. Next week, we go to Rome. Give you our first look at the Rome Wolves of the 2023 season. All right, welcome back, guys. Phil Jones with you. ITG next game of the week. Richmond Hill leads the Lowndes High Vikings 22-0 as we get ready to start the second half. The Vikings will receive the football here to start the third quarter, and it's important for them to come down and answer with a score. My man Sean and I were talking during halftime, and Sean asked me what I thought it would take and what Lowndes needs to do. And I'll be honest with you and tell you exactly what I told Sean, our videographer. I said it is almost, imperative, very important that Lowndes take this opening kick and they take it down and they score. I mean, that's what they need to do, A, to get points, which, of course, is the name of the game, but they also need to get the momentum. Right now, they lack the momentum, and momentum, as you guys know, is a big part of any sporting event, and especially here tonight with all of the momentum going to the Richmond Hill Wildcats there in that first half, which included a long opening game drive of 76 yards. It took almost half of the first quarter for them to capitalize with a 7-yard touchdown run at 6:15 of the first quarter. And that started things off for Richmond Hill. They followed that up with a turnover, a 9-yard interception return for a touchdown, and then a touchdown on a 13-yard pass just before the end of the half. And again, they went for two. And Richmond Hill made it. And that's where we are, 22-0, as we get ready to start the second half. I mentioned again that what does Lowndes need to do? They really need to take this second half opening kick, which they'll get the ball to start the second half. They need to take it down. They need to score a touchdown. Guys, here's the deal. Okay, there's a whole half of football left to be played. So you can get it done if you're Lowndes. Your defense has played well at times. Some mistakes is what has cost Lowndes in this game. But we have seen flashes of brilliance from the Vikings on both sides of the ball. They just need to put it all together, eliminate the mistakes. And, again, I think the real key, though, guys, they really need to take this opening kick, take it down. Of course, taking the kickoff back would certainly help. But taking the opening drive, driving it down, getting a touchdown, and getting back in this game is what is critical to the Vikings getting back in this game and possibly winning it. Because right now, they find themselves behind 22-0 as we get ready to start the third quarter. I tell you, we saw quite an inspirational halftime performance from the Richmond Hill marching band. If you guys had a chance to watch it, and I hope you did, you saw one of the best halftime performances that this guy has ever witnessed. Of course, we're here in Richmond Hill. Fort Stewart is not far from here. You've also got Kings Bay not far from here. So there's a huge military presence in this area, and the halftime marching band, or the halftime performance rather, by the Richmond Hill marching band, it was military themed, and it was a great performance. It was patriotic themed, and I got to be honest with you, it brought chills to me and everybody in this stadium. And I was told that the Georgia Bridgemen did not perform tonight because they were given the full halftime last year to perform. So kind of a little bit of give and take between the two bands. But you can certainly hear the Georgia Bridgemen cranking it up where they are situated over on the visitor side of the stadium here at Richmond Hill. 22-0, your score. We've been getting some scores from around the area, including 17-14 at the half. Thomas County Central on top of Lee County. Colquitt County 24-10 on Valdosta. You've got Crisp County all over Thomasville. Are you kidding me? 41-0. Mike Sorensen, is that score right? Wow, a little surprised. We were at Crisp a couple of weeks ago for the Crisp Carver Columbus game. That was a big Region 1 3A matchup. Crisp defeated in that game 24-7. So, boy, if that score is right, Mike Sorensen, and I trust that it is, that's a little bit of a shocker. All right, guys, we are set to go to begin the second half. Important that Lowndes do something with this opening possession of the second half to get back in this game. They trail 22-0 as we are set to go. Toe meets leather, and we are underway in the second half. Kickoff is going to go through the back of the end zone. So we're going to see the Vikings offense. 1st and 10 from their own 20-yard line. Big thanks to our friends at Georgia Farm Bureau Insurance, as well as Baker Sports, sponsors of tonight's game. They've also sponsored our entire 2023 season-long package of the ITG Next Game of the Week, and we thank our sponsors for sponsoring our game. All right, here we go, guys. Important possession. Maybe the most important possession of the season so far for the Vikings, who trail at 22-0. Marvis Parrish going to throw a little pass out in the flats. Nothing doing. The Richmond Hill defense came up and read it well. Lowndes is going to lose yardage. In fact, they're going to lose 7 yards. So 2nd and 17. Not the kind of start you wanted if you're a Vikings fan. Marvis Parrish is in the gun, takes the snap, wants to throw, looks, throws far side, complete for a short gain. Pass completed over there on that far side to Aiden Safa, the wide receiver, big 6'4" junior. So a big play here. 3rd, and we'll call it 13 needed for the first after the 4-yard pickup. 2 receivers here to the near side. 2 to the far side. Single back. That's Smoke Fleming off the right hip of Marvis Parrish, who wants to throw. Look, now Marvis is going to be chased out of the pocket, trying to find some running room, and he's going to be brought down after he picks up a few yards. Actually just gets it back to the original line of scrimmage. So Lowndes, 3 plays, they net 0 yards. 4th and 10. Not how you wanted to start off if you're the Vikings. So they're going to go 3 and out, and they're going to have to punt it away. Thankfully, though, you've got the best punter in the state. Going to take a great Vikings bounce. Carson Page, ladies and gentlemen, maybe the best punter in the state of Georgia. And right there, he's going to kick the Vikings out of a deep hole. And he's going to give the Vikings defense a chance. Is Richmond Hill now going to take over? 1st and 10. This will be their first offensive possession of the second half. And right now the Wildcats are in control. They lead at 22-0. The Viking defense must stop Richmond Hill. They cannot afford to let the Wildcats score another touchdown. It's just that simple. So Richmond Hill going to take over. 1st and 10. They got it at their own 25-yard line. They lead at 22-0. Their first possession of the second half. ITG Next Game of the Week coming to you live from Richmond Hill tonight. Going to give it to Nick Bliss on a direct snap. Bliss, there he goes! Nobody's going to catch him. No penalty flags. Nick Bliss just took it 75 yards. On the very first play of the second half. And that makes it 28-0, Richmond Hill. Richmond Hill going to line up and go for two. Kirk Scott, the quarterback, is in the gun. Two receivers, now three receivers. Scott going to roll that way, going to throw, complete, I think, and it is good to Nick Bliss for the 2-point conversion. That makes it 30-0. And Richmond Hill has gone out on top in dominating fashion in the first half, and now here to start the second half. 30-0. Give us a chance to tell you about our friends at Georgia Farm Bureau Insurance. Guys, if you're looking for auto, home, life, maybe even renter's insurance, you can get that and a lot more, as well as a quote for any insurance that you are looking for. Go to Georgia Farm Bureau Insurance's website at gfbinsurance.com. Also, big shout out to our friends at Baker Sports. We're going to be giving the Baker Sports Pro Sports player of the game from both teams a brand new set of shoulder pads. That's going to come from our friends at Baker Sports. And I'm going to ask you guys to help me select the player of the game from both teams. That's from Baker Sports and Pro Sports. Proud to partner with ITG Next, sponsoring tonight's football game. All right, here we go. Kickoff. We're going to take a bounce and going to be marked for a touchback. Like Lowndes may have a chance to return that one, but Brown took a step into the end zone. So it's going to be a touchback. So we're going to see Lowndes go on offense. They now trail it 30-0. So here's the Vikings trying to find something offensively. Can they do it? Marvis Parrish takes the snap. Marvis going to throw it. Complete. Short gain out to the 25. Give him 5 yards. Penalty flag. We had a Viking and a Wildcat tangling. And now they're jawing pretty well down there. Let's hope that cooler heads can prevail. Now we got Richmond Hill's coaches out there, and boy, they're telling them, pipe down. You kind of hate to see that in a game like this. So I think the penalties are going to be offsetting. But we'll wait and see. We'll get the call here from the crew chief. There's the dead ball, personal foul. And it's going to be on the Vikings. So that's going to cost the Vikings 15 yards. Let's see if this Viking team now can maintain their composure. A game that has not gone their way at all tonight. 30-0. Richmond Hill leads it. Handoff, running room, right side, 20, 25, 30, 35, 40, 45. Big run for the Vikings running back, Brown, who's going to finally be pushed out of bounds. That's the biggest gain of the night for the Vikings from scrimmage, and let's see if that can get this Viking team going here. Just underway, second half, 30-0. The Vikings trail it, but trying to get on the board. So here's the Vikings now, 1st and 10. They've got it on the Richmond Hill side of the 50 at the Wildcats' 48. Marvis Parrish going to take it, going to hand it. Brown's got it. He'll bounce off one would-be tackler, but here come the reinforcements in for Richmond Hill to bring him down for a loss. There's another penalty flag going to be thrown. This is going to come at the end of the play.
And I think the referees now are trying their best to try to get control of this game. Tempers flaring on both sides. I'm not sure who it's going against. It might be against the Vikings. I didn't really see what happened. No, they're going to mark it off against Richmond Hill. I had saw Matt Lozada motion that he thought it was against the Vikings, but that's not the case. It's going against Richmond Hill. So we had an unsportsmanlike conduct called at the end of that play after the tackle. So now we've got an official's timeout. So the Vikings are running up to the line. The crew chief called for an official's timeout. I could actually hear him up here say it. And I think that's exactly what they're doing. So just as I thought, the crew chief has called the players from both teams in and basically tell them to cool it, guys. And I like that. So, after giving a good talking to the players, here we go, ready to play football. Let's go. Handoff. Fleming going to break it outside. Smoke. Runs over one would-be Wildcat. Look at Smoke Fleming get the extra yardage needed there for, I think, what is going to be a first down. So give these Vikings credit. They're down 30-0, but they've still got a lot of fight left in them. And here's the Vikings now with a new set of downs. 1st and 10, Marvis Parrish wants to throw. Going to throw it to the end zone. Incomplete. Going to bring up 2nd down and 10. Lowndes at the Richmond Hill 25. Vikings trail it 30-0. You're watching the ITG Next Game of the Week, guys. Thanks so much for being with us. Let us hear from you. Keep it positive, guys. But let us hear from you. Where are you watching the game from tonight? Who you pulling for? Do you have a player in the game? Grandson, nephew? Let us hear from you, guys. Handoff, going to go to Smoke Fleming. Going to break it outside. There goes Jakari Fleming. Boy, he had a... He had a Richmond Hill player that had him in the grasp. Here's Lowndes now, ready to go with some tempo here. Empty backfield now. Marvis Parrish, 5 receivers. Now they'll bring a couple of guys over on that far wing. Now Fleming will come back and line up in the backfield off the right hip of Marvis. They're going to give it to Fleming. Left side, there goes Jakari, taking it into the end zone for a touchdown. So there's the Vikings with their first score of the night. And there's the Georgia Bridgemen cranking it up for the first time tonight. And I'm sure that is a great sight and sound for Lowndes fans as they've now cut the lead to 30-6. Point after attempt is up, and it is good. The point after attempt that time from Aiden Andrews is good, and it's now 30-7. So we've got a ball game. A lot of time left to be played. You still got 8 minutes left to go here in the third. In a 30-7 Richmond Hill lead. Gives us a chance to tell you about our friends at Baker Sports. Baker Sports and Pro Sports are proud to be the presenting sponsor between Richmond Hill and Lowndes tonight. Athletes and fans alike, between Baker Sports and Pro Sports, you can get your gear covered from cheerleading to football to fans. We are a one-stop shop for top quality sports apparel and equipment. Call us at 904-388-8126 for all your sporting good needs. I'll tell you also about our friends at Georgia Farm Bureau coming up here in just a minute. Big thanks to both of our sponsors, Baker Sports and Georgia Farm Bureau Insurance. So here's Lowndes getting on the board now for the first time tonight. 30-7 the score. So number 5 for Richmond Hill, that's Caleb Easterling on the kickoff return. Shoved out of bounds at the 31-yard line. And that's where we're going to see Richmond Hill take over. 1st and 10, they lead it 30-7, exactly 8 minutes to go in the third quarter. Capacity crowd here on this home side for Richmond Hill. Boy, they come out and support their Cats. Not a bad crowd at all has come over tonight to support the Vikings. So a great crowd on hand tonight for the ITG next game of the week and in the stands here at Richmond Hill. Thank you guys for watching as we've got a stoppage in play. Going to be a false start on Richmond Hill. It'll make it 1st and 15. Guys, let me know where you're watching tonight's game from. So Richmond Hill now 1st and 15. They'll spot it back at the 26-yard line. 3 receivers here on this near side. Scott throws, incomplete. It went off the tight end's hands. That's going to stop the clock, and it's going to make it 2nd and 15 now. 7:53 left to go here in the third quarter. 30-7 Richmond Hill. Plenty of time left, though. Lowndes got the much-needed score they needed, their first touchdown of the night. And now the defense going to need to come up big here. As here comes Richmond Hill, 3 receivers, far side. Scott, the quarterback, calls for it. Going to take it. Looking for some running room, far side, and then the young Lowndes defense going to make the pursuit and the stop. So 3rd down, this is a big play for the Vikings to try to get off the field here. 3rd down, still 15 yards needed for the first. 3rd and 15, you got to figure it's going to be a throwing situation for Richmond Hill. Kirk Scott, the quarterback. He's now in an empty backfield. Scott takes it, looks, plenty of time, going to throw it. Intercepted by the Vikings. It's an interception, and they're taking it back. So Kirk Scott just threw an interception. The Vikings get a huge turnover. Anthony Martin, the sophomore defensive back, stepped in front of a Kirk Scott pass. And don't look now, but here's the Vikings with a much-needed turnover, a much-needed break. And we're going to see the offense now back on the field. Lee Hill says, finally. Now the Vikings got to try to take advantage of it. Nice run, left side. Give him about 4. That's Brown on the carry. We'll back him up now to the spot, give him 3. Lowndes going with tempo, no huddle. They've got to try to get the ball moving down the field and in a hurry. Quick toss, wide receiver screen, it's complete. Give him about 3 or 4 and going to bring up a 3rd down. 6:26, 6:25, 6:24. The clock is moving here in the third. 3rd down. Third down. Let's see what the Vikings are going to call here. Adam Carter and his staff across the way, sending in the call, and here we go. Snap. Marvis fell down. The pass incomplete. Marvis has had a problem with his footing tonight. He has slipped on several pass attempts, and I don't know why that is. So you're going to fourth down. Obviously, Lowndes is going to go for it. Going to go for it here, the Vikings. Fourth down. Fourth, and we'll call it 4, needed for the first. Here we go, 4th and 4. Marvis Parrish, the quarterback, is in the gun. He takes the snap, looks. Parrish going to throw it long downfield. We're going to get a penalty flag. Going to get a pass interference call on Richmond Hill. It's either going to be a pass interference or a holding call called on the defense. So that's going to be a break for the Vikings. So instead of a turnover on downs, Richmond Hill home crowd does not like the call. But now the Vikings are going to have it 1st and 10. Ball at the 16-yard line. Is that the 16? It is. 16-yard line. Vikings, the new set of downs. 1st and 10. Going to run it. Running room, look out. Oh, there's a saving tackle made. Otherwise, Brown was off to the races. Big run that time, though, from Brown. 2nd down. 5 needed for the first. Here come the Vikings trying to get back in this game. They just got a critical interception and a critical penalty called. Snap. Marvis going to run for it. Marvis going to be run out of bounds. It's going to bring up 3rd and a yard on 3rd and 4. I'm sorry, 2nd and 4. Marvis ran it for 3. 3rd down and a yard. You know that Lowndes is in 4-down territory, so they got 2 downs to make a yard. Marvis is going to run in there for a touchdown. There's a touchdown, Vikings. Marvis Parrish on the quarterback keeper. And don't look now, but here come the Vikings trying to get back in this game. Aiden Andrews in the try, the point after attempt. Boy, Marvis just ran over one of the Richmond Hill defensive backs. Here's Aiden Andrews to try to put it through. It's good. So the Vikings with back-to-back touchdowns here in the 3rd quarter. And it's now 30-14. It's a brand new game. So Jakari Fleming and Marvis Parrish back-to-back rushing touchdowns. And Becky Roundtree Harris says, great to see the Vikings fighting hard. Go Vikings. That's the spirit indeed. Well, you love it when any team doesn't give up. And here come the Vikings. Still a lot of time left. 4:59. You can basically say 5 minutes to go in the 3rd. Richmond Hill special teams out there waiting. And here now come the Vikings kicking team. Trying to get me some of that caramel popcorn, Sean. Stop those young ladies next time they come by. A little snack for the ride home. All right, here's Aiden Andrews. Going to boot it away. High end-over-end kick. It's returnable. Fumble. It's a fumble, and the Vikings have recovered. It's a fumble on the kick return. They're still trying to unpile it. We'll wait. Lowndes says they have it. And now they'll reverse it and say Richmond Hill will keep it. That's a break for the Wildcats. You had the Richmond Hill, or you had the Viking players jumping up and down like they had recovered. Goodness gracious. Near disaster there for Richmond Hill, who have the lead. But right now the Vikings have the momentum. The Viking defense needs to come up big here. Near disaster for Richmond Hill there on the kick. So let's see if the Viking defense can continue this momentum that has developed here in the second half. Nick Bliss going to keep it right up the middle. He'll take it for about 4 or 5. Richmond Hill now slowing things down, and you can't blame them. They're trying to burn some clock here. They still have a 16-point lead. Bliss, now he's their go-to guy. They're going to line him up and just try to run him every time here. But the Viking defense is going to knock him down after about a 2-yard gain. So at this moment, and at this point in the game, this is your biggest play. The Lowndes defense desperately needs to hold here. If you're a Richmond Hill fan, you want to get the first down and keep your momentum. Big play, 3rd down and 4. What will Richmond Hill do? Will they dare throw it? Here we go. Let's find out. Scott is back in the game at quarterback. A lot of movement there before the snap. Scott looks, throws, far side. It's complete, and they get the first down. That's a huge pickup, and we've seen Richmond Hill do that tonight, where they're just running their receivers to the sticks, and they turn out, and the throw is there, and they did it again. Vikings corner is going to have to come up and press on those plays. So that is a huge pickup for the Richmond Hill Wildcats, but it was too easy if you're a Vikings fan. So that'll keep Richmond Hill with the football. 1st and 10, that's a big pickup for Richmond Hill at their own 38-yard line. 3:15 left to go here in the 3rd, and we've got whistles stopping the clock. Penalty flag, offsides on the Vikings. So that's going to cost Lowndes 5 yards. Ray Moore says, man, that was a big pickup there. It was. Timmy Neesmith says, we don't ever press. We play 7 yards off the receivers. What's the time? The time is 3:13, 3:12, 3:13. Clock is stopped. 3:13. To go here in the 3rd. Still a lot of time with Richmond Hill leading it 30-14. Right, Bliss to the right side, runs it for a short pickup. But remember, it was only 1st and 5. So now it's 2nd and 1. That's when you hate those penalties like that. If you're a Lowndes fan, those just kill you. 3 minutes to go in the 3rd. 3 minutes. Richmond Hill says they've slowed it down quite a lot here now, and you can't blame them. They're going to go into the Wildcat here. And there he goes. Look out. Boy, there's a touchdown-saving tackle That time from Landon Wright. Boy, if Mr. Wright doesn't make the tackle, you were about to see Joshua Troop take it to the house. It's still a big gain, and it's a first down. And right now, the momentum that had gone to the Vikings has switched back to Richmond Hill. First and 10, 2:14, 2:13, 2:12. Clock is moving, and Richmond Hill is running this play clock all the way down to under 5 seconds when they snap it. Nick Bliss. Play clock is run out. It's going to be a delay of game on Richmond Hill. That time they let it go too far. So a delay of game call on the Richmond Hill Wildcats. .155 left to go in the third quarter. Lowndes trails it 30-14, Richmond Hill on top. First and 15, Georgia Bridgman doing their part to try to make as much noise as possible over there. And you can always count on the Bridgman, can't you? Nick Bliss, direct snap. Bliss taking it right side. There goes Bliss, still on his feet. He is a heck of a football player. He's their go-to guy, and he picked up about 13 yards that time. Second and short. We'll call it second and about 3 yards now needed for the first. They spotted him a couple of yards back. Boy, this Richmond Hill team looks good. Troop on a direct snap. Left side, there he goes. He's going to take it for a touchdown. .24-yard touchdown run. From number 2, Joshua Troop. And that's going to give Richmond Hill the lead now, 36-14 with the point after attempt coming up. Here's the snap, the hold, the kick is up. And the kick is good by Blake Williams. So what looked like a change in momentum had occurred, which it did, with Lowndes coming back with 14 points here in the third quarter to get back in this game, has now gone back into the corner of Richmond Hill with the Wildcats taking it in for the score and increasing their lead now to 37-14. Guys, I'll give us a chance to tell you about our friends at Baker Sports. Don't forget, going to ask your help in helping me choose a player of the game that we'll announce in the fourth quarter. And we'll get a player of the game from both teams. And those two players are each going to receive a brand new set of shoulder pads, compliments of our friends at Baker Sports and Pro Sports. So I'll ask you guys to help me out with that. Who is your player of the game? Have you made a choice? Do you still need some more time? Let me know your thoughts on the player of the game from Richmond Hill and Lowndes High School. 4-4. Richmond Hill, 4-4 Lowndes coming into the game, both winless in the region. One of these two teams will be coming out of here with a region win, and one will not. And the winner is going to take a giant step in securing the number 4 seed. Here we go. High end over end kick. Taken inside the 5. Troop's got it with a full head of speed. Man, he is a quick guy, let me tell you. Troop took that ball at about the 3, and before you know it, he was already out at the 41-yard line. I'm sorry, guys, that was Brown. My bad. Aleem Brown on the return. What a player he is. He has really shown me something. I've heard all about Jakari Fleming, of course, Smoke, and a lot of these guys, but man, Aleem Brown, a junior. He'll be back next year. Ray Morris says going with Bliss for Richmond Hill. Yeah, he's certainly well deserving, isn't he? Handoff. And Jakari still taking off down the field. They're going to say his knee was down back there. I think that was the right call. The Lowndes faithful across the way don't like it. I'll say this, the Lowndes fans, they brought a great crowd from Lowndes County. That's a far drive. Me and our videographer, Mr. Producer, can attest to that. About 3 hours, right? Sean, 3? Yeah, we stopped for some barbecue on the way over here. No Buc-ee's between Richmond Hill and Valdosta, though. It was good, wasn't it? We come to you from Rome next week. That'll be our regular season finale of the ITG Next Game of the Week. Parrish looks, going to tuck it up and run it. And they're going to get back to the original line of scrimmage, and that's where he'll be brought down. Going to bring up 3rd down. 13 seconds, 12 seconds, 11, 10 left to go in the 3rd. Lowndes, are they going to get another play off, or will they let the clock run out? 4, 3, 2, 1, and that's going to do it. That's the end of the 3rd quarter of play. With your score, Richmond Hill 37, the Lowndes High Vikings 14, as we get ready to go to quarter number 4. Give you a chance to tell you about our friends at Baker Sports. Baker Sports and Pro Sports are proud to be the presenting sponsor between Richmond Hill and Lowndes High tonight. Athletes and fans alike. Between Bakers and Pro Sports, you can get your gear covered from cheerleading to football to fans. Baker Sports and Pro Sports is a one-stop shop for top quality sports apparel and equipment. Call Baker Sports at 904-388-8126 for all your sporting good needs. Also, a big thanks to our friends at Georgia Farm Bureau Insurance. Guys, go to their website, gfbinsurance.com, for all of your insurance needs. You can also call them for a quote, 877-404-1050. As we get ready to start quarter number 4, Lowndes has got it. 3rd down and 10 needed for the 1st. Marvis Parrish. Now we got a penalty flag down. Going to be a false start on Lowndes. False start on the Vikings, so instead of 3rd and 10, 3rd and 15. All right, let's see what the Vikings can do here. 3rd and long. Marvis slips down again. Going to throw it long downfield. He's going to overshoot everybody. So Marvis tried once he started, and I mentioned this earlier, Marvis we saw him lose his footing on several pass attempts tonight. Now, he slipped on that one. He was able to regain his footing. I don't think it really had much to do with the pass or disrupting the pass, but still, for some reason, Marvis has had a hard time finding his footing tonight. So the Vikings going to go 4 and out and have to punt it away. Carson Page, again, the best in the state. Ball is going to go out of bounds. This one not one of his better punts. And even the best punter in the state has a rough night. But truthfully, he has booted some major kicks tonight, has Carson. And that one, though, going to be one of his shorter punts, and it's going to give Richmond Hill good field position as they take over. 11:45 left to go in the football game. Richmond Hill leads it 37-14. It's been all Wildcats for the most part tonight. Lowndes did have a couple of touchdowns there in that third quarter to climb back in it, but Richmond Hill with a nice drive there right at the end of the third quarter to regain the momentum and increase their lead. Short gain. Give him about 3 yards. Going to make it 2nd down and 7. As I mentioned before the game, and I've been talking about this throughout, this is an important game for the 4th and final seed coming out of Region 1-7A. Now, both these teams still have a game left. Richmond Hill will play at Colquitt. Lowndes will host Camden. Now, let's just assume that this game holds where it is, and Richmond Hill goes to 1-2 in the region. Lowndes goes to 0-3. Let's say if next week Lowndes can get a win, Richmond Hill loses. I'm just giving you some possible scenarios. That would put really both teams at 1-3, but it would give Richmond Hill the tiebreaker with the head-to-head between these two teams tonight. So just kind of giving you some possible scenarios. Run plays, nice defense that time by the Vikings coming up. Making the tackle, Coleman Lewis. He is the Vikings' leading tackler this season, and he has certainly done his part tonight. Direct snap going to Joshua Troop, the junior. Well, I'll tell you this, couple of observations. Richmond Hill has impressed me tonight. Yes, Lowndes has made some mistakes, but, guys, Richmond Hill has played well. You got to give credit where credit's due. I mean, I know a lot of you Lowndes fans are a little upset. I get it. But these Vikings maybe have not played their best game tonight, but give Richmond Hill credit. They have certainly, I think, played what looks like their best game of the year. These Wildcats have played well this year. They haven't been able to get the win. Kirk Scott on the run, now going to direct his field. Boy, there's a big tackle. From Lowndes' Landon Wright, who came up and put the face mask in the chest. But getting back to what I was saying, so Richmond Hill had a 2-touchdown lead on Camden. They wind up losing 35-33. They had Ware 14-7 after 3. Ware scores a couple of late fourth quarter touchdowns to win that one 28-7. Richmond Hill lost to Coffee 21-0. Lost to Valdosta 24-14. And I was told that the Coffee and Valdosta game, Richmond Hill really was not necessarily in a position or didn't really put themselves in a position to win. Scores maybe a little closer than they thought. So Cook has defeated Fitzgerald, according to Greg Maddox. Wow. You don't think that game had some emotion, and you don't think that the events that were announced earlier today with the temporary restraining order granted by a judge out of the Alapaha Judicial District has given Cook a reprieve from their forfeiture of all their wins, at least for now. Now, there will be a final court ruling, and you can bet everybody's going to be keeping an eye on that. But for right now, Cook is your region champ. An incredible turn of events. Ray Morse telling us that Cook and Fitzgerald not shaking hands after the game. Yeah, listen, I said that there would be all kind range of emotions in that one tonight. I'm really surprised that the teams kept their cool if they did indeed. 3rd down and 22. Running play. Short gain of about 4 or 5. Going to bring up a 4th down. 9:40 to go in this game. 9:38, 9:37. And we're going to see Richmond Hill now going to have to punt it away. A rare punt. Guys, I don't think Richmond Hill has punted but, twice? This will be the 2nd punt? Is that right? Wow. So now they're going to run the punting team on late. Let's see if they can get this one off. 6 seconds on the play clock. They're running a player on late. And we've got a penalty flag. Probably going to get a false start called on Richmond Hill. Yeah, you could tell they were a little out of sync there. And a late man running on late just before the snap of the punt. So Richmond Hill called for a false start. Back them up 5. 9:02 left to go in this game. Richmond Hill leads at 37-14. The ITG next game of the week. Next week, we come to you from Rome. Rome and Etowah. Here's the punt. Over toward the sidelines, and Richmond Hill going to go down there and down it. And Lowndes will take over. 1st and 10 with 8:52 left to go in the game. Ball at the 26-yard line is where the Vikings will put it in play. They're on 26, trailing it 37-14. I'm Phil Jones, your play-by-play man. You're watching the ITG next game of the week. All right, here's the Vikings. Marvis looks. Marvis wants to throw. Marvis being chased out of the pocket. Marvin still on the run. Marvin going to tuck it down and run it. And he'll pick up a hard-earned 2 yards. He ran a long way for that one. Let me tell you, Marvis is a tough cookie. And, guys, let me just say something. I see a lot of the comments. I'll get this play off first, and then I'll address some of your comments. Pass incomplete. You know, listen, I know we're all passionate about high school football. You got to remember, programs go through different eras. They go through different periods of going up and down. And right now, you're just seeing Lowndes in a little bit of a slump. They're young. Marvis Parrish takes the snap. Marvis chased out of the pocket. Marvis going to turn his shoulders up and throw it. He got a man wide open in the middle of the field. Well, what a nice touch that pass that time from Marvis Parrish, who is down after getting nailed on that pass. Now Marvis, I was just talking about what a tough cookie he is, able to get up. He took a shot, and he's checking to make sure he's got all of his teeth. And I'm not being facetious. He was literally running his fingers around his mouth, making sure everything was okay. But, guys, Lowndes going through a little bit of a tough period. They, listen, I know those guys. They knew this was going to be a tough year. Of course, Adam Carter's first season coming in as the new head coach. Richmond Hill showing blitz. Run play. Nice gain that time. Again, Brown on the carry. He's had a good night tonight. Picked up 7 yards on that run. So, every program goes through tough times. Listen, all you have to do is go into the Martin Stadium, the Concrete Palace, look on that wall and see all of the championships, the region titles, the state titles. They have certainly had their day in the sun. Nothing lasts forever. Every team, I don't care who it is, goes through ups and downs, guys. You got to remember that. Pass complete. So you got to remember that. And also remember one thing. These are 16, 17-year-old men young men that we watch and we talk about. And you've got to remember that, guys. Got to stay positive. It's high school football. It's not life or death. I know it's important. But keep things in perspective, guys, always. That's all I ask. We love covering high school sports at ITG Next, and it's the greatest sport, no matter what sport it is, if it's high school sports. Complete. Marvis with a nice touch that time. Complete out here on the sideline. Aiden Safa. 6'4". He's coming back next year. Boy, there's a lot of positive guys about this Lowndes team. You got a lot of guys coming back. Jerry Safford, a very stoic quote. When you are this far behind, you need to have a great passing attack. We just don't have the star numbers or star players in numbers. Marvis wanting to crank it up. Sacked. Now he gets out of it. Are you kidding me? He's still on his feet. Oh, wow. I don't believe what I just saw. Who said that? Vin Scully, penalty flag down at the end of that play. My player of the game for Lowndes, I'm torn between Marvis and Smoke, Jakari Fleming, but I'm going to tell you, that play right there was magician-like. From Marvis Parrish. I thought he was sacked. I'd already called it. Wow. Big run, and the penalty on Richmond Hill is going to give Lowndes a first down and 10 at the Richmond Hill 9-yard line. First and goal to go for the Vikings. Still fighting, still alive. 6:30, 6:29 left to go in the game. 37-14. Vikings trying to get a touchdown here. Marvis Parrish is in the gun. He takes the snap. Going to give it to Smoke Fleming. Look at Jakari go. Taking it to the 2-yard line. So I'm going to need some help here, guys. Player of the game, I'm torn between Jakari Fleming and Marvis Parrish, who have both played their hearts out. I thought we had whistles there. We did. Marvis taking on the quarterback keeper. Whitney Browning says give it to Parrish. Ashley Cook says Smoke. Yeah, that's kind of where I'm at. I'm kind of torn, guys. Jerry Safford, being saved is the greatest life insurance. Amen to that, brother. Mike Sorensen says Smoke. Ray Morris, Smoke. Smoke. Smoke has been the star player all game. Marvis has played pretty good too, guys. We'll give it to, let's see who scores the touchdown here. Marvis Parrish probably going to call his own number here. Let's see. Snap. No, going to give it to Jakari, trying to get to the goal line. He's not going to get there, I don't think. Going to stop him. His forward progress should be about the 1, and it is. The half-yard line is where they'll spot it. So third down and goal from the half-yard line. It's literally, the referee is standing on the 6 inches from the goal line, guys, and I'm not exaggerating. Mr. Cameraman will zoom in there and get this one. Third and goal from the 6-inch line. Here's the Vikings. Going to give it to Smoke Fleming. Richmond Hill says they've recovered the fumble. I have not seen any sign. They're talking it over now. Referees are talking it over. Richmond Hill says it's a turnover. Lowndes wanted the touchdown. I'm at a tough angle, so I really can't see what's happening. It's a turnover. Richmond Hill has recovered. And just when it looked like Lowndes was going to punch it in, it's a fumble from Jakari Fleming. So it's a turnover. The Vikings defense will have to come out now. Ashley Anders, defensive coordinator, talking his troops up over there on the side. So the Viking defense going to have to come up big here. So it's a turnover. 5:25 left to go in the game, and it's been really that kind of game for the Vikings tonight. A lot of mistakes, just a lot of tough breaks. Bliss going to take it. And there goes Bliss. Whoa. Bliss is injured. Nick Bliss, I think, got his ankle rolled. Or maybe he's just cramping. Boy, that's good news. You don't want to see a player like him hurt. So Bliss just took it for about 32 yards, getting them out of the shadow of his own goal line. Valdosta and Colquitt. Look at that. Lee and Thomas County Central tied at 24. 6:41 left. Thank you, Walter Johnson, for that. Mike Sorensen, thank you for the kind words, brother. Always. Mike Sorensen, great friend, great supporter of us here at ITG Next. My players of the game going to go to Marvis Parrish for the Vikings, and for the Richmond Hill Wildcats, going to give it to Nick Bliss. So our players of the game, Nick Bliss, number 4, and number 4 for both teams. Marvis Parrish going to get my player of the game. So both number 4s, Marvis Parrish, Nick Bliss, our players of the game, they are each going to get a brand new set of shoulder pads, compliments of our friends at Baker Sports and Pro Sports. Now we're going to get a unsportsmanlike conduct penalty called on the Vikings. Just been one of those games, guys. Danny Redshaw, the athletic director, over on the far sideline. Coach Redshaw overseeing this athletic department for the Lowndes High Vikings. Grayson, 28-7 on Archer. Guys, listen. This one, so you're going to have 1 7A taking on 4 7A. And, I mean, you're looking at some crazy playoff possibilities. Archer was the top seed. They're losing to Grayson. So, I mean, you had Newton, who had been the talk of the state. They lost last night to South Gwinnett. And, I mean, it's just it's been the silly season of high school football here in the state. And, guys, I'll be honest with you. This game tonight kind of epitomizes the way the season has gone. And I don't mean that with any trepidation with either team. Richmond Hill has struggled. but they have played their hearts out tonight in this one. Lowndes has been playing well. They probably had their best 2 games against Valdosta and Colquitt, albeit in losses. And then tonight, it's just been kind of one of these head scratchers. Go try to figure what's going on. We're down to 3:33 left to go in the game. 3 minutes, 33 seconds left to go in the game. Colquitt up 37-10 on Valdosta. Ray Morris, you're right, 35-33 Camden, and that was a game that Richmond Hill led by a couple of touchdowns. Guys, I want to thank everybody for checking out the ITG Next Game of the Week. Next week, we bring you the season finale of the ITG Next Games of the Week for the 2023 season as we go to Rome. Big tackle that time from number 52 for the Vikings. Big Travis Middleton, senior defensive lineman, 305. Terry Fawcett, thank you so much for the kind words. Terry Fawcett says, great job, ITG. Thank you for that, Terry. Really appreciate the kind words, guys. And I want to thank, we had great viewership tonight. Enjoy bringing you guys great high school football every Friday night, uninterrupted. And we thank our sponsors for making that possible. Baker Sports and Georgia Farm Bureau Insurance. Run play. That's Joshua Troop taking it for a nice game. Two minutes, 10 seconds left to go in this one. Now the clock is going to run. 2:05, 2:04. So basically we're down to 2 minutes. 2 minutes to go in the football game. Richmond Hill leads it 37-14, and they're trying to get another one. Matt Lozada, the young head coach for Richmond Hill. This is going to be a big win for him and his Wildcat program. Kirk Scott taking it. No, that's not Kirk Scott. That's Caleb Easterling. My bad. Caleb Easterling. Ray Morris says the Valdosta head football coach Sheldon Felton ran all the way into the middle of the field after Colquitt stopped Valdosta on the goal line. So that score in that game is what? Valdosta Colquitt, 37-10. Personal foul called against Richmond Hill. Again, we talked about Cook winning tonight. Thomas County Central and Lee have, where are they at, guys? Still tied? But thank you guys for the kind words. We do appreciate the kind words tonight. .130, 129, 128, 127, and clock continues to roll here on the Georgia coast. Richmond Hill in complete control. Boy, they have looked good tonight. Guys, I got to tell you, they got some great-looking players. Look at that. What a tackle. He's a tackling machine, is Coleman Lewis. That's why he's the leading tackler for Lowndes, and a great tackle that time by Lewis. Let me tell you something. These Vikings have played their hearts out. Don't ever think that they didn't. 37-12, says Glenn Jackson. Under a minute to go in the game. Under a minute. A lot of glad hands being given there by the Richmond Hill Wildcats. This is going to be a big win for them as they go into the victory formation. And that's going to do it. So Richmond Hill, as the clock ticks down, celebrating tonight on the field. It's a big win for this Richmond Hill team. Probably one of the biggest wins in their program's history. Coming away with a victory over one of the most elite football programs in the state, and the Lowndes High Vikings. Your final score tonight from Richmond Hill, the Wildcats 37 and the Lowndes High Vikings 14. And I think if anybody would have predicted this, you would have said you're crazy. Gay Davis says, appreciate you broadcasting. Thank you so much for that. Flint Dykes. What's up, Flint? Flint, checks in the mail for that comment, buddy. I appreciate you, Flint. Flint's our strong man. Yeah, him and Sean. They're our strong men. They're my bodyguards. Flint Dykes, the son of our owner, Mark Dykes. But, guys, thank you so much for all the kind words. Thank you for showing up tonight. We had great viewership, great commentary from you guys. This is what we love about bringing you the game of the week. We love to chat with you, love to interact with you. Do Johnny Bland, I hope I didn't butcher your name too bad there. Thanks for the broadcast. Well done. Thank you for that. Gay Davis puts it quite well. Good game, Richmond Hill. Lowndes will be back. Go Vikings. Gay Davis had some of the classiest comments tonight, Gay. That's the way you do it. Waylon Polk, hopefully I will see you Monday at 5 o'clock. ITG Next Go. ITG Next Show. Guys, speaking of which, if you like tonight's game and you like the job we do, check out the show that we do every Monday at 5 o'clock. It's live. It's Extra Point. It's a show we do on high school football from 5 to 6:30. We talk about all of the games. We'll talk about this one, and I also do a coaches show with Adam Carter from the Lowndes High Vikings. It's one of 13 coaches shows that I do, and I encourage you guys to check out my coaches show with Adam Carter this upcoming week and hear what the head coach of the Vikings has to say about tonight's game, as well as the season finale coming up against the Camden County Wildcats. If you're looking for some answers from the Vikings head coach, well, check out my conversation with him this week and every week on the Lowndes High Coaches Show with myself and Adam Carter. You can check that out at Spreaker, and you can also check it out here at ITG Next. Ray Morris, thank you for the kind words. Jerry Garrison Albritton, thank you very much for that compliment. I do appreciate that. Thank you for that. It really makes my night. I'm humbled. I really am. Donnie Warren, thank you for checking out the game, and thank you for your kind words. Thank you for offering us a safe ride home, and all the Lowndes fans going back with us. Thank you for the kind words, guys. I really do appreciate that. It was all Richmond Hill tonight from the start. Richmond Hill took the opening drive, and like me and Mr. Producer Sean Perry were talking about, this was a quick game. It started at 7:30. I mean, it's 2.5 hours, but it went pretty quick. Again, our players of the game going to go to Nick Bliss for Richmond Hill, and for the Lowndes High Vikings, I'm going to give it to Marvis Parrish. He was a workhorse tonight. He took a lot of punishment. Yes, he had some bad throws, but he did his part. Yes, Jakari Fleming had a great game as well. I had to pick one. I'm going to give it to Marvis Parrish, the quarterback. Always particular to the quarterback. J.C. Parrish, thank you for the kind words, my man. Thank you for that. I appreciate that very much. Thank you. Donnie Warren, thank you for that. I appreciate that. Guys, thank you for all of your comments. Thank you all for watching tonight. We had a blast bringing you this game. And don't forget, Monday at 5 o'clock, check out my show, Extra Point, with yours truly. And then next week, we'll come to you with our final game of the year from Rome. Giving you a look at the Rome Wolves of Coach John Reed. That'll be next week, our ITG Next Game of the Week finale, right here at ITG Next. Again, as we close out tonight, big thanks to Georgia Farm Bureau Insurance and Baker Sports, sponsors of tonight's game and sponsors of our game all season long here at ITG Next. Again, your final score from Richmond Hill, Georgia tonight. The Richmond Hill Wildcats, 37. Lowndes High 14. For Sean Perry, our videographer, I'm Phil Jones saying have a great night, have a great weekend, and go Dogs. See you guys.